Hey everyone, today's topic in the Marine Context Brief template series is when it becomes more important to have these type of templates. And I'm going to break it down into blog size buckets. So for 0 to 20 posts, it's helpful, but it's not critical. The main benefit you're going to get from this is you're going to get lots of ideas for topics that work and that sell. And so if you want to go to my Gumroad, I'm going to put a link here in the description and in the blog post that this is associated with. You can see templates and these can help you to just get started. Get that writer's block out of the way and just get some traction going. At 20 to 50 posts, it starts to matter because you're starting to get into different topics and you want to start just refining, okay, well, I covered this topic pretty well, and start thinking about what do I want to talk about for the next topic. At 50 to 150 posts, it becomes a multiplier because here you're starting to actually get some traffic to your posts. So you want to start defining, okay, I have these topics or clusters, and Google's starting to decide what you're about. So the main risk is inconsistent structure or not asking for the sale, which is a call to action. So if you'd like help with this kind of stuff, send me an email to colbym@gmail.com. Now at 150 to 500 posts, this starts to become non-negotiable purely for the reason is that you are getting traffic, significant traffic at this point. So, and contradictions are going to appear naturally. And you're going to cover the same topic a few different ways. And that's okay, especially because with the AI tools nowadays, people are asking more specific questions. But you still want to think about this and write this down and start to create systems for it. That's all. Also, you're going to want to start standardizing intake blocks. You can use the same calls to action in many different articles. But about certain topics. So you can create a standard call to action that you put in each of the articles. So send me an email to colbym as an example of that. At 50 to 1500 posts, you start to require governance for your posts because there may be some quality drift and outdated guidance that start to become threats. So you're going to want to start running your blog posts through some systems for refinement. Using a brief, a source kit, a red claim audit workflow, and a refresh cadence. What a refresh cadence is how often you're going to go back and look at the post and see what needs to be updated. All these things start to become more important. So the main risk is that you're scaling misinformation if you don't have good service documentation, or you're getting some support load because you're actually starting to get a lot of leads at this point. 500 to 1500 posts, you're getting some decent traffic. And you may just need to train your sales team on how to deal with blog leads and refine your system to show them where in the sales cycle this blog traffic is coming from. Is it fact finding? Is this customer ready to close? Have they already seen the product and don't really need a demonstration? That kind of stuff. At 1500 posts, this starts to become mandatory because you have an enterprise sized blog and you need to start installing an operating system. At this size, your blog behaves like a platform. So you're going to want briefs, you're going to want taxonomy, you're going to want merge policies, and I'll talk about that in another post here. You're going to start to want owners per cluster, which just basically means people that within your team that know the subject very well. You're going to want them to be involved with a certain set of articles. That's all. There's also going to be some maintenance that unstable rankings that you could improve on. Let's say one blog post gets knocked down by another blog post, and all you have to do is add a few more words, and the blog post is back to ranking, or just do some refinements. It really depends. All right, so there's wasted crawl. This just comes from like a lot of, let's say, tags that need to be cleaned up. So just start standardizing them for a topic that you cover extensively. You can kind of let them drift a little bit on new topics because you need to have that that space for some growth there. And you're going to want to break these kind of edits down into chunks. So here's some trigger rules, even if you don't know your post count, which means that your blogs are starting to get more complicated. So you may want to start implementing some systems to deal with this complexity. So if any of these are true, it's definitely time to start using a full brief for every post. If more than one person writes or edits the article, this starts to become important to have some standardization. If you're writing this article in multiple languages, the same thing happens here. If multiple services or products overlap, you're going to want to work with this as well and look at your source documentation. If readers are constantly asking the same follow-up questions and your sales team is getting that, you need some level of feedback mechanism to just create an article that covers that topic. All right. So what about having two posts that rank for the same query? Now this is not horrible because you're covering some Google real estate. If your website shows up 3 or 4 times for the same topic, you're covering the whole first page. That's great. So this one, there's a little bit of nuance to that one. And this also, you want to have your team start to correct misunderstandings caused by the content. But you want to have systems for this because you don't want to just say one team member says, okay, just change this. And then you go back and change it and you don't realize how it's connecting to everything else. So yeah, if you would like help with your blog at any size, then please feel free to reach out to me at colbym@gmail.com. At different size blogs, you're going to have different issues, and I can guide you through all those. So send me an email to colbym@gmail.com. Talk to you soon.